If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and fight.
Sam Lawler, Harry Armstrong, Luke Trainor. What a set of debuts they made for the Tigers on Thursday night against Carlton in a 13-point win nonetheless in front of 80,000 people at the MCG. That is just stuff that dreams are made of, and I'm sure all three of them are pinching themselves, wondering what on earth has happened after that type of result. It's just a magical occasion for all of them. Just wanted to give them some love quickly and obviously talk about the jumper presentation pre-game with Trent Cotchin giving them their Guernseys, which was a really, really nice touch. Koch obviously being such a legend of our football club, delivering us 3 flags and really being one of the pillars of turning the culture around. It's almost like another symbolic thing of passing the baton on, like these kids are now the next generation to take us forward. So really good to see Koch in the rooms handing over the jumpers. But let's talk about the guys playing the game itself. We'll start with Sam Lawler, the number 1 draft pick. He, I was a little bit surprised that he didn't make his way into the midfield until the second half. Like it was literally one half up forward, and then he started some midfield minutes in the second half. Clearly, that was planned and structured for managing workload and things like that. But if we have a look at his stats, he had 18 disposals, 2 marks, 2 tackles, and 2 wonderful, wonderful goals. His first goal, a nice little cheapie out the back. He read the flight of the ball perfectly, set up well, and to kick that goal at the punt rate end with the crowd going absolutely wild was amazing to hear and to see. And then later in the game's on the line. While we've just tied it up, we're pushing. Lawler, breaks through with the ball inside 50. Could have given it off, but takes it upon himself to slot the goal and put the Tigers in front. And what a celebration it was. And we just didn't look back from there. And, not only was it the goals that he kicked, but it's also those small handballs that he had in close to free up other players to get shots on goal. I think he had like 8 score assists or something like that, or direct score involvements, which is a huge number for a first gamer, because often you'll find that these kids the moment can get the better of them and they might try and have the shot themselves or just, get it forward at all costs. But he actually thinks his way through traffic, even in this very, very early stage of his career. And he's just so difficult to tackle. He's just got that strong core, strong through the hips. He's a big, big boy. He's actually a little bit taller than I thought he was. So that's going to be helpful. Can take a nice overhead grab, as we saw on the wing. Flew for a nice mark and clunked it. And you can just see he's got that real drive to get the ball moving as quickly as possible. I can't wait to see him get his hands on the ball a bit more in the center of the ground, delivering it to the forwards, breaking the lines from defense and things like that. But from the early signs that we saw of Sam Lawler, pretty special player. And it just showed exactly why that we valued him at the number 1 pick. Not many players will make a debut and play predominantly as a half forward and have that much of an impact on a game in that side with, as little experience as it had. He just stood out from the moment he touched the footy. So Sam Lawler, absolute star in the making, and looking very much forward to what he does in the years to come. We'll move on to Luke Trainor. Luke Trainor, I wasn't sure if he was going to start on the ground, but I'm really, really glad he did. And I know I've said this before and I'll say it again, but he could genuinely be one of the steals of the draft. Like we've mentioned, he was a top 5 rated talent for most of last year in the under-18s. It was always out of him and Alex Taru about who was the best intercept defender, but a lot of people had him ahead in that category anyway. And it was just those concussions or apparent concussions that sent him down the draft order. So to get him at pick 21, I think it was, I think it's going to end up being an absolute steal. So Trainor had 15 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances as well. He just looks comfortable and confident when he's got the ball in his hand. And I think that's a rare trait to see it for any AFL player, far be it a player in his first game on the MCG in front of 80,000 people. It takes a special kind of person to be able to walk into a ground and play that way and not be overawed. So he's got some seriously good footy IQ about him. And it's the small things, like the ball would be on the ground, everyone's scrapping for it. Instead of diving on it like a lot of people do, he was actually smart enough to tap it out of the pack and get it to the advantage of one of our players on the outside so they could pick it up and go on and make the next play. You just don't see that stuff happening very often from young kids. And then there was that great contest at the end in the last quarter on the half-back line, a 60-metre run for the ball in a one-on-one contest, didn't give up, kept his feet, and forced the ball over the boundary for a throw-in so we could reset. To not lose that contest at a point where he would have been completely knackered after his first AFL game was really, really pleasing. And then there was also the amount of times that he decided to leave his opponent to come up to the contest where the ball was, coming to impact that contest instead to help out the team. Now, that's a risky move even for experienced players to do, because if you get it wrong and it goes over your head, you look like a right dill and you probably concede a goal. So the fact he backed his own ability to do that with his defensive mindset and just the confidence he had in himself and his teammates as well to execute things like that was really, really good to see. And it's hard to see him not making it. And look, these guys are going to have up and down games, I'm sure, being youngsters, but by geez, they put on a pretty good show on Thursday night. And Harry Armstrong, the big man, 5 disposals, 1 mark, 1 tackle. And if you just read that stat line, you'd probably think it was a bit of an average game. But honestly, if everyone who watched it, I'm sure you would all agree that was a very, very good 5-possession game from the young man. Because it's not about the stats he gets. It was about the packs he was crashing, the physicality he was imposing onto his opponents, bringing the ball to ground, giving our other small guys a chance to get it forward. And then to top it all off, you've got one of the last plays in the game where the ball sitting on the boundary line amongst 2 Carlton players, runs over, gives one a bump, picks it up, looks inside to the goal square and drills Jacob Bauer lace out, who then finishes off with a goal. The composure, the mindset, and everything like that to pull off that pass was really, really mature, to be honest. A lot of other players, let alone kids, would have just bombed that to the top of the square, get it to the hot spot, or had a bit of a shot themselves. So, for him to think through that situation at that moment in time with the pressure that was on, the crowd's buzzing, the game's intensity's gone through the roof, the game's in the balance, and he executes that type of play is really good. And I was speaking to someone who was sitting with some of our recruiters, and I believe he was the player they were most impressed with from that standpoint, that they always thought he could be a mature player and that it was going to come. They didn't expect to see things like that this early. So I think he's taken a really big step forward, even in some of our own recruiters' eyes, and ticked a box they maybe thought wasn't going to get ticked till later on. And look, it's only round 1, so we don't want to get too carried away, although this video probably does give that vibe. I'm okay with that, though. I'm excited about these young kids, and I think we should all be excited about these young kids. I'm just going to be very fascinated to see what they do in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. It's a long season. Look, they may tire and they may have games where they miss a few games here and there just for their own fitness and to ease them through the rigors of AFL. But, when you go to a draft with 8 selections, and there's always the concern, did we nail the picks? And I know it's early days, but the first 3 that we've seen look pretty good so far. So great to see the young kids having a really red-hot go. Sam Lawler, love your work. Trainor, could be the pick of the crop. And Harry Armstrong, just a big beast. Just keep crashing those packs, young man. And you will be, forever loved by the Tiger faithful if you can keep throwing your weight around like that. Super impressive. Let us know what you all think in the comments below of the 3 debutants. Were you happy with their games? What do you want to see them do in the weeks to come? Keen to hear what you all think about it all. So make sure for more Richmond content, like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you for the next one. Go Tigers.